Oh, okay. You just leave them on the pew.
I'm going to start I'm so glad to see you here this morning. And I don't have a long introduction, but this is the first Sunday of our Epiphany Mission Sunday School classes, and we are being live streamed, so we hope that there are people in other places who are going to watch today. For our 250th anniversary, the month of January has been designated as diversity. And in your bulletin today, you received a form that has some information and some prayer requests, and it has some of the prayer requests that Angelica presented to us. I have also given you a sheet that tells a little bit about what's happening this month, going through February the 6th. So Angelica, I don't have to, I started to introduce her. Somebody said, I know her. I just want to say that my first introduction to Angelica was at Sunnyside. She was our intern there, and she was dynamite. And Tommy Cole came in, and I know he can tell that. We needed somebody with language, Spanish, and she was able to help with that, and has since gone on into the Spanish ministry, which she's going to talk about today, and also her additional new job position with the Board of World Mission. We welcome you. I could say more, but I'm not.
Good morning. I was looking at my clock. I was like, oh, it's still morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
It's good for me to be here, to see you all in person and virtually. I don't see you, but I know you see me. So welcome to the Sunday School part of session here. I am excited, and I'm going to show, somebody asked me, are you going to show pictures? And I'm like, yes, because I will not want you to look at me a whole time. But I also want you to experience a little bit of what's been happening. And I'm not going to dwell too much on each slide, and I would like for you to ask questions. Just raise your hand, and I'll be happy to have this as a conversation mode. So my name is Angelica Regalado Vera, well, Ciesa, I'm sorry. And I'm the pastor at Estamos Unidos, and I recently have another position there with the Board of World Mission that I'll be talking a little more about. So for the ones that don't know, Estamos Unidos is a Moravian ministry that initiated, the vision and the call was issued on 2017 in September, But the ministry as it is now did not start until 2018. And we used the Sunnyside ministry building. I was invited previously, I think about a year or maybe a little over a year ago, to talk about this ministry. I will encourage you to visit our website or our Facebook page under the same name, Estamos Unidos, if you want to learn a little bit more of how it started. So I wanted to continue and sharing a little bit of what's been happening since the pandemic started. So that picture is from our first anniversary in September 2018. We were growing and we were blossoming until March 2020, then we all know what happened. So I know that this pandemic has affected many churches, places, and the world in general. So we had to rethink our ministry, change our programs, our dynamics that we had. We still wanted to help and work together within our community. So we really had to take the opportunities that were presented to us. So for me, now, as it's our second year within the pandemic, I can go back and see how God has been with us through it all and pretty much offered us these opportunities to change from what we were to what we are now. And as you probably know and find about our ministry, we are very educational oriented. We offer a lot of educational opportunities for first-generation Hispanic immigrants, and that's how we reach out to the community. In those opportunities, we always present who we are, which part of the Moravian Church, and we want to reach out and build a Christian community within that. But our first step, it's always presenting this educational opportunity. So when the pandemic happened, obviously all our programs were shut down, and we use a borrowed building. So we have to depend a lot on what Sunnyside Ministry is doing, or if they're closed or if they're open, and we follow their steps on how the policy on that is. So the opportunities that presented there, we didn't have an official Bible study. We wanted from the beginning that. We had a small gathering in person, but then it was more focused on the educational opportunities. So when the pandemic happened, a lot of people start having more fear and more questions about what's happening. Is this the end of the world? What does Scripture says about this and all this? So there were two ladies within our ministry that said, Pastor Angelica, we really would like to go deeper within a Scripture to try to understand what's happening in the world. So I was, inside of me, obviously, I was like, yay, let's, because I love when initiative comes from them. I love to present many ideas and many things that I want to do, but it's, in my experience with this ministry, it's more responded when it comes from them. So we started a Bible study. We started working together with other Moravian churches and do a collaborative virtual BBS first, and then I'll talk a little bit about that. And now it's a more permanent collaborative virtual Sunday school. I started doing my reflections. Our main day of activities was Wednesday, so we continue having Wednesday reflections, mainly on our Facebook page. And we also started a weekly Friday reading for our younger kids. So, and many other collaborative efforts that I'll mention in a minute, but this is one of my favorite groups that we started. As you can see, that's my daughter in the back, and then that's Leticia, one of the ladies that wanted to start this. By the end of 2020, that's how many people we had, which, it's 5 people, and some people say it's not that many people, but for us, for a specific Bible study group, it's a big achievement, especially during the pandemic with people that truly don't know how to use technology. And it was also, that was a challenge. And I'll talk a little bit about that too. So other things that we did was trying to find what was happening within our community. So thank God I had a really good network of other Hispanic leaders within Forsyth County, and everybody was freaking out and wondering what was happening, especially within our community, because we have mainly larger family units. So even within restrictions of gathering, or if we wanna like say, let's meet 15 people, that's only 2-3 families. So it's not much to do when you have to be, spread out within your unit. So it was hard, but we got, Zoom meetings was our space to talk and see what was happening within our Forsyth County area, but within other churches, other organizations. We partner with Novant Health to start distributing masks, and help out distribute that first part, about 1,000 masks, which, for our community, was like, where do we get them? How do we, with larger family units, you have to have like at least 2, to be able to, if they're clothed, to be able to wash one and then use the other one. So that was a big deal at the beginning. We partnered, it was our second year partnering with Freedom School, and if you haven't learn about the program, I encourage you to visit and learn a little bit more of Sunnyside Freedom School that is led by Pastor Ross May. Our second year, many of our teenagers join, and they provide a device for them, and that was a huge help in trying to reach this, our community as well, because they had a device. Many people did not have a device when the pandemic started. And that was a big challenge. A lot of phone calls saying, Pastor Angelica, what do we do? How do we, get this? I don't know how to use this, mainly for school purposes. And I'll talk a little bit more on that in the next slide. But I partner with Sister Christy Clore from Carnesville, Moravian, in doing the first Vacation Bible School. And alongside with that, I know Home Moravian. Margaret was partnering with Jamie from Raleigh to do a collaboration in doing a virtual Vacation Bible School as well. And we eventually all got into the same room, Zoom room, and to the conversation, and that's how the collaborative virtual Sunday School started. But the VBS in 2020 was a huge success, especially for our community, because there was activities for families to do while they were enclosed in their houses. Like, I don't know if you remember 2020, but it was mainly don't go out, stay within your unit, don't take the kids out. The school was fully virtual, so a lot of parents were like, there were not only material needs within food and maybe some assistance, but for sanity's sakes too, like if you have, can you imagine having 5-6 kids and have them all day, all the time at home? You have to have crafts and you have to have activities to do. So I think that's a big part of why 2020 was a big success within our community for BBS. And we had it throughout the month of July. We have them 4 weeks instead of just, a week every day. So that was good. A lot of phone calls. That was our main source of communication, and some cards, postcards, notes, and things like that. So that's my table at home, putting packages together to deliver for these kids. That was something that we work together with the other churches too, and each church will, give the packages to their kids for their weekly activities. We also participated on the crop walk, and each family walk around their neighborhood, but that was something that united us as a community, that we were all doing this together at the same day, even though we were not physically together, we were doing it together. So that was the second year. We did it on 2019 at the Corporate Plaza, but we had about 8 families doing this, so it was good. And I only have one picture there, but everybody shared their pictures, and it was an activity to do outside. So we continue with the collaborative Sunday school for 12 weeks until pretty much before Advent, and we also continue during the 4 weeks of Advent. I have had 4 families that started with us from BBS 2020 till currently what we're doing for Sunday school. They have been with us every Sunday morning at 9:30. And that to me it's great. It's great. So now passing to 2021. There were a little more with, like we can gather outside and the vaccines. And the group that it was harder for us to meet virtually was our teenager group that we started in 2019 at the request of the parents. We used to meet every Saturday, and then we went to every other Saturday to not meeting at all. And we tried a couple of times to meet virtually, but truly it was very few attendance, and the ones that were present were never on camera. There was not much interaction. So the first group we wanted to try to get together in person and try to reconnect with was our teen group. And Sunnyside was gracious enough to let us use their picnic area. New Philadelphia donated chairs for us to, those foldable ones to use when we meet. And we started meeting once a month. Thank God I have 2 wonderful leaders from New Philadelphia, Tina and Dawn. They were like you are now in one of the sessions that I was explaining a little bit of our ministry back in January, sometime in 2020. And they approached me and they say, how can we help? And when we got together and talked about a little bit of how can we work together, we discussed our youth group. And even though I think none of them have a lot of experience working with teens, but they do a great job. And they planned lessons, and they pretty much, I'm with them every time we meet, but it's their time, it's their, their show, if you will. But first meeting that we had, I think it was June or maybe May, and we had 10 kids like that. And they were all in time. Parents were like, oh, what time do we pick them up? They were like on the go. They want us to meet so bad. And they always start like a little shy, and then we have to ice break and all that. But we had 9 kids that went to mission camp with us and 2 adults. So we've been planning mission camp since before the pandemic, and then pandemic happened, and then they closed Laurel Ridge as well. So 2021 was our year to do this. And it was planned for 12 kids, but because of COVID and some of the restrictions and health issues, 9 ended up going, and it was just a wonderful time. This was the first time these kids were ever outside of their house for like a day, more than a day. It was their first time they were experiencing interaction with other kids. And this was before school started in person again. So this was the first time in a long time that they were interacting with other people. So that was great. The photo on the bottom is our day of service. And we had I think it was about 22 kids from Estados Unidos and New Philadelphia kids joined, and there was about 8 kids from New Philadelphia. So we were growing. It was not 10 to 12 kids anymore. So have to think of activities to do, different collaborations for BBS 2021. We did hybrid, and Home Moravian was part of that collaboration, and we used the open space here too. And our project was for the dwellings, and it was great to learn more about them. We have a closing service at the end in your beautiful backyard. So it was wonderful, and we partnered with a church that was not Moravian. So we were extending our invitation to whoever wanted to work with us. Some churches have a small gathering of children, and they don't have a Christian education person and it's hard for them to just plan something, so they joined us, and we were all, together on that. We continue partnering with Pastor Ross and Anthony Splott on Freedom School. I think half of their kids were Estamos Unidos kids, and they just love it. They love the interaction with the teachers, and they have a great dynamic there. So it's a great program. I encourage you to learn more about it. And our women's group, that 1-2 people Bible study, became a 8-10 people Bible study. And they start organizing themselves to do, like, a lot of our kids are in Freedom School. Why don't we provide a meal one day for them? I'm like, when it comes from them, it's like, yes, let's do it. They I put it together and everything, but they are the ones that, oh, we can do this. Well, no, I'm working, I can just leave this here. And that is a good response to a group. We thanks to the sponsorship of the Unity Women's Desk, we were able to do our first women's retreat in September. And we had 10 wonderful women to join their retreat. These are mostly mothers. They have never left their children since they were born. Some of them have, I know, like, for example, one of them has all high school to pre-K children. They have 6 children, and they have never taken a time for themselves. So it was a big deal. Obviously, I had to talk to some spouses there, and just, it was just a weekend. It was, Labor Day weekend, the first weekend in September. And it was just, we put it together. We had a speaker. She unfortunately was exposed to COVID, but she was able to join us virtually. And I pretty much led the rest of the retreat. We also had a community leader there, Megan, that came and pretty much, say, okay, this is how we build a community. This is how we want to, the next step of how we want to approach our group of women. And we have one volunteer that joined there, Barbara. So it was a wonderful time together. We had communion. We had worship outside. We spoke about different women within the scripture that many of them were like, what? Scripture tells us about women and about these wonderful leaders within, their communities. So it was truly, to me personally, very refreshing and very community building too. So that was a blessing. We participated also on the crop walk. We had a great response. We did it outside. We did not do it with the larger group, our corporate plaza. We went to Quarry Park because we have a lot of kids and a lot of people felt safety if it was just our smaller group. But we walked and we raised about $400 for this. So that was a big thing for us too. So on the part of trying to help our community within the pandemic, a lot of mothers call me and say, we have so much struggle with connecting or just, doing the part of the schooling part. So I talked to Julie that she'll be, I think, the speaker next week, Julie Tomberlin from Unity Women's Desk, and they apply on our behalf for a grant to get computer classes to Latino mothers. So we did that. It was, we'd have 4 classes of about 10 to 10 mothers, and it was a hybrid mode. We used Trinity facilities, and we partner with the schools, the Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools, and they help us put this together. And our main focus was like, how do you help your children be successful in school through the virtual component? So that was a great partnership. We continue partnering with the different churches, Moravian churches, for the virtual Sunday school. We partner with Nova and Trinity and Anthony Splott to bring a mobile vaccination clinic to our people, because that was still something something needed within our area. And many other pastors met with Novan, many other Hispanic pastors met with Novan in trying to see how we can educate our community a little bit better within vaccination and within big gatherings and stuff like that. So that was a big portion of 2021. So on September 2021, we still have our 3rd anniversary virtual, but something else happened. So we have had only 1 anniversary that we have celebrated in person and 2 that we have celebrated throughout a pandemic. But in September 2021, I was also called to be the Director of Mission Outreach at the Baltimore Mission. And that's when my description or my job shifted a little bit. I am so happy to be part of a wonderful group of people. We are not showing Sister Jill Galacci in the picture because of COVID. She was exposed and she could not meet to the retreat in October. But she's part of our team as well. And you will probably hear more about this when Brother Chris Giesler will come. I think it's the first Sunday in February that he's doing the lesson too. But I wanted to talk a little bit of each one of them and my role within this new position. So I'm going to start with the first one, Elizabeth. She is the administrative assistant. Next is Brother Rex, and he is the treasurer. And then it's me, Director of Mission Outreach. And then we have Sister Sylvie, which is the Director of Communication and Development. And then we have our Executive Director, Justin Rabak, and Bishop Chris Giesler is the Director of Mission Engagement. And what I love about this group is that I'm here in Winston-Salem, Elizabeth is in Pennsylvania, Brother Rex is in Philadelphia, Sylvie is in Chicago, Justin is in Wisconsin, and Brother Giesler is in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem. So we're all in our own corners, but doing this broader mission. So people ask me, what do you do with the Baltimore Mission? And I kind of, we all know our bishop, beloved Bishop Sam Gray. He was with the Baltimore Mission, and some people ask me if I'm, fulfilling his role. Somewhat, yes, but it's in a different capacity. And this is a part-time position as well. And my role with the Baltimore Mission is to help support the organizational goals for outreach work, which is the work with our assigned global partners through the worldwide Moravian unity. So my job is mainly focused on the broader spectrum, not necessarily the local, even though I am here in Winston-Salem, and Winston-Salem is largely, we have a large Moravian churches here, but that's the difference between my role and the role of Brother Giesler. He's mission engagement, and his role is pretty much engaging with churches and mission trips and mission gatherings. So I have been focusing on area developments with our global partners and unity assigned mission areas and provinces by collaborating with local leadership to identify local in that area to identify, prioritize, implement, and evaluate programs and projects. So when I started, they said I was gonna focus in Peru, Cuba, which is a mission province that it's under supervision of the southern, or accompanied by the southern province and Baltimore Mission. And Sierra Leone and Peru are still mission areas. So those were my main partners, I guess, to work with. However, since I have started, that have shifted a little bit, because those are, as you can see below, the 3 areas that I focus on is area development, leadership development, and growth and outreach. So what I have been presented with have been the many of our Spanish-speaking partners and provinces sometimes are lacking of Spanish resources, Moravian Spanish resources. So we started talking about how we can, talk to leadership in Cuba and Peru, Costa Rica, Honduras, including our clinic, and Nicaragua, and trying to connect with each other. Because, you speak English, you can easily connect with, Moravians in England, Moravians in other parts of the world. But sometimes Moravians within these 5 Spanish-speaking countries don't know each other and don't communicate with each other. So I just add a map to see that difference between, those are the Americans and the Caribbean, but we have partnership within South America, Central America, and the Caribbean. Culturally, it's very different, and it's good that we learn from each other, that we share our experiences with one another. So we want to connect them in our, part of the job that I'm doing now is that we are preparing a Spanish-speaking conference of Moravian resources in April, hopefully, if the pandemic allows us, and God, first of all, for them to have a tighter relationship with the Border Board Mission, and to understand that the Border Board Mission is different from the Unity and from maybe some particular churches within U.S. Sometimes when there is communication, people assume that the Border Board Mission, especially within these areas, the Border Board Mission is the Unity or vice versa, and it's good that we have clarification on that and maybe learning more of how things have happened in different areas. Obviously, Honduras and Nicaragua have had Moravians longer than Cuba and Peru, and it's good and enriches us all when we get to know each other and learn from one another. And I'm getting to the end, but part of what I love about this ministry is that I got to reconnect with so many people that I have met before in my different hats with the Moravian Church throughout my years serving this church, serving this Christian community. And obviously I got to meet new people as well, and just, people get to realize, oh, people, in America or in the US also speak Spanish, or I can identify, I'm obviously Peruvian, but, I'm still here, and people like maybe knew Jeannie in the South Africa conference, and they were, oh, do you live close by? Or somebody from the north, and that I may know, I may not know, but we can connect, and this is what it's all about, building relationships and connecting with one another and growing, learning from one another. So to conclude, I put Estamos Unidos and the Border Board Mission mission or vision statement. And for Estamos Unidos, our goal is to present our Lord Jesus Christ to our Hispanic community through service and education. And in doing so, we strive to build a supportive community that reaches beyond the barriers of language and culture, allowing us to discover God at work in the world around us. And for the Border Board Mission, it's about building relationships through mission outreach and mission engagement to be faithful to the Great Commandment and the Great Commission. And I just left that verse there because I truly believe that when we serve God and serve our neighbor, it is because of love, the love that we have for God and for our neighbor. So these are words from our Lord Jesus Christ: love one another as I have loved you. You also must love one another. And I just added here, there, everywhere. So that's a little bit of what I'm doing with my time these days. There is some prayer requests that I share with Sister Molly from both ministries. They both mission-oriented. We both work with the community, either here locally or broader. But Your prayers are greatly appreciated for this both ministries. Your supports and learning about it and sharing about it, it's wonderful. And if you would like to volunteer or be involved in any of this, I'll be more than happy to talk to you more and just discuss how we can collaborate and do things together. So now I will take some questions, if you have questions, comments. I don't know if this is...
Are there questions?
Yes.
Angelica, could you say a little bit more about your time schedule for the mission camp? Or you probably don't know right now, but just your vision of what's going to happen for the women getting together and then the children for their mission camp for the summer, just so we can sort of think about that as a committee?
Sure. So it's a great question because Estamos Unidos used to have me full-time, and now I am part-time, so I relied heavily on Yes. Repeating. Sure, no problem. So the question is, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, what is happening or what is going to happen with the women and the children and the programs at Estamos Unidos as we move along this year? Is that correct? Okay. So I am now part-time in both ministries, and I'm still, I'm fairly new at the Board of World Mission. I joined end of September, pretty much October, and I'm learning as I go. I'm still trying to balance my both schedules, family, and everything else. So I relied a lot on volunteers now. I'm hoping that we will get back to in person at some point this year. That was my hope the beginning of last year, but it didn't happen. We relied a lot on policies at Sunnyside Ministry, how they were reopened and things like that. But there is a lot of collaborations that we can do. Like, for example, our youth during this winter time, we partner with Free Bird to do square dancing. Our youth groups were in mission camp together, so leaders wanted to do something together so they don't lose their connections. So our kids have never even, watched a square dance before, so it was a great opportunity for us to learn from them. So, and that was an insight. They had a huge gym, so it was perfect to spread and do different things. So that's one of the things that we did for our youth during this winter. In December, we helped with Las Posadas, so it was an outside event, but we joined, so we didn't, have to reinvent the wheel. It was pretty much, collaborating. So I just met with our youth leaders, and thankfully, we could use the Sunnyside facility. They have only let us use the waiting area for one Saturday a month to do our activities. Women are gonna still meet virtual, mainly because a lot of them during our time focus on either, we're listening, we're participating, but they're either cooking or, helping the smaller kids. So it works for us to be virtual for now. We're continuing our virtual Sunday school, and I want to stress this, that we didn't have Sunday school before the pandemic, and we will probably continue virtual even after the things go to normal, because, and obviously this is what I think now, it may change with time and in the future, but we don't have a place to meet. I don't have the volunteers that I do have when we do a collaborative effort. We have Christian educators to join. We have, other leaders that have been doing this for longer than I have. So it's a great, for churches that don't have that, or for new ministries that we're just starting, having Sunday school, I would have to have at least 3 teachers, maybe, like somebody to help me with the parents and then the gathering and all that. And now with the restrictions, even more. So I don't have that. When we do virtual things, it's easier for now. Hopefully we want to get there at some point. But we also want to do mission camp this year. And I have invited 2 of our parents to help us lead this, because I don't want to be the only one that, it's going. Last summer, I had a 2-year-old. So last summer it was tricky for me to go an entire week and then just leave my family. The plan was to go as a family, but then the pandemic happened, so it was not possible. But parents were like, Pastor Angelica, are you going? Because a lot of these kids have never been anywhere, so I had to go the first time. But this time around, I invited people from our ministry, but for people that leave pretty much, by month, to leave a full entire week of work, it's hard. So I would like to, have volunteers if they want to come visit our youth group and just, get along with our youth and maybe, help us with mission group. It's a week, or maybe, we're going together with your church and just get to know, those type of things. Other things that we're doing, I cannot do like the classes anymore, like the technology classes. Julie asked me if we were gonna reapply, but with my hours cut, we only do in the ministry now, like the Monday Bible study, Wednesday reflection, and Sunday school, on Sunday, the virtual Sunday school, and our monthly youth meetings. But I cannot commit to do any more like I did before, because my time, it's now, share with Portable Mission. But I can always talk to somebody or hear you out if you would like to share with me your talents, whatever God has given you, and we can work together in creating something new. It's always an opportunity to grow. That's, I think, the beauty of a new and emerging ministry. Any other question? Yes.
Is Laurel Ridge ever a consideration for some of your children? Is that a possibility to get scholarships to go to Laurel Ridge for a week?
No, we have done mission camp at Laurel Ridge, and we plan on doing it again. I think we have talked to mainly the kids, some of the parents, about the different programs that Laurel Ridge have, and I'm sure Scarlett and Trey will work with us if they want to, go to summer programs. I think I can't speak for them, but I think we can work something together. However, like the entire month of July, most of our kids do Freedom School. So we go mission camp in June. It's the first mission camp that they offered. And normally parents, and I don't know if this is a cultural thing, but normally Hispanic parents will send their kids where there's an adult that you know and trust. So that's a different conversation. But I'm sure we can work something out with some scholarships from Laurel Ridge if some of our kids will like or decide to go to other summer programs.
Was the women's retreat at Laurel Ridge?
Yes, the women's retreat was at Laurel Ridge.
We want to do that again.
We would like to do that again, yes. We actually, we're starting our new book, Women in the Bible. Next Monday, we meet every Monday at 5, and we have 4 new women that will be joining us. So the group is growing.
I noticed that one of your prayer requests was for a larger space. Are you looking? Are there things available in the area? Is transportation difficulty for people?
That's a great question, because if you saw in our first anniversary picture, we were growing. And some of our families have stayed with us, some of the families have moved away, some of the families are now they're virtual, maybe here or there, looking at our weekly reflections or things like that. I get message about that. But before the pandemic started, we started praying about maybe a larger building, because we love Sunnyside and they have been, very good to us. But it's the setting, the building is set for a different purpose. It doesn't really accommodate us with our larger group of kids. Like, we literally, if you've ever been to our Wednesday program, we use every single room there is. So like, our kids use the hallway for activities. When it's winter, when it's summer, we use the parking lot, we use, the space outside. So we were growing, and one of the concerns were like, if we keep growing, we're not gonna be able to meet here anymore, because the classes were packed. It was just too many people within the smaller space. But then the pandemic started, and we have to refocus on something in programs and be creative and survive, kind of. So now that we're kind of a little bit more established within some families, we're start praying again about maybe finding a little bit of more equipped space. I know that some people have mentioned their facilities, but they're far away from us. And we are at the heart of the ministry. Like, our ministry is at the heart of the community there. So I think it'll be a little harder if we move it far away. So, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. A great deal about our ministry in this area. And I was interested if you're in Southside, so are other Spanish families from around our area coming your way, and transportation would be an issue, I assume. Are there other questions? Thank you so much, Angelica. Next week, we will have Dr. Julie Tomberlin from the Unity Women's Board with us to talk about her work among the women of the Unity. So I hope you will be here for that. You may take this with you. We have information from each of our speakers on needs, service, prayer, generosity. So that's a part of our anniversary, and it's a part of what we're trying to do. Are there questions or comments? I'm very excited that we have people here. So.
Let me just say, Moravian, that you are great. I mean, I was looking at your bulletin, and in celebration of your 250, you're doing this series, and I really hope and pray that this will also become, I know you have your actions and you do your reach out to, but, we will love to keep working together and do things together.